Talk about a crusher. Yes! Oh!
Are you kidding me?
And gone!
Welcome back to the Schoolyard Sports Podcast. We're back from our summer hiatus. We have so much to run through on the MLB, heating up so much, NBA, NFL, so much news going on in sports right now. We're going to hop into it. Stay tuned for this action-packed episode. This is episode 83 of Schoolyard Sports. We're going to start off fire with some headlines in the NBA. James Harden is officially back with the Philadelphia 76ers. He has a $35 million deal. He took a bit of a pay cut to get more stars. They got PJ Tucker. They got some better pieces in the offseason. Do you think the Philadelphia 76ers can win the NBA championship next season? Do you think they can contend in the Eastern Conference? They lost in the second round last season. Do you think they can make it further this season? Leave your answer in the comment section. I think they definitely can. James Harden, that's an interesting deal. Him staying in Philadelphia, not going to Miami, not going to LA, not going anywhere else. James Harden staying in Philadelphia. Now, Donovan Mitchell, everybody. There has been so much going on with Donovan Mitchell. They got rid of Rudy Gobert, and the Jazz are basically blowing up their team. They rebranded all their uniforms. They're just trying to get draft picks at this point. Donovan Mitchell might just be a New York Knick right now. At the time of this recording, Donovan Mitchell is not a New York Knick, but a report came out about an hour ago that Knicks and Jazz have a deal done. Not finalized yet, but they have a deal done for Donovan Mitchell to become a New York Knick. And ooh, am I excited. I would give up Bobby Toppin. I would give up Emmanuel Quickly. I would give up anybody else. I want Donovan Mitchell on this New York Knicks squad, and I think he is. So Donovan Mitchell will be perfect for the New York Knicks. Maybe he goes to Miami Heat. Maybe there's a package to the Boston Celtics, but I couldn't see Danny Ainge trading his star player to his former team, the Boston Celtics, but maybe anything can happen. We haven't talked about the NBA draft yet. NBA draft was about a month ago, but just so much went on. Paolo Banchero, one pick number one, dominated the Summer League. Chet Holmgren had a pretty good Summer League. Keegan Murray won Summer League MVP for the Sacramento Kings. Now, our mock draft wasn't the greatest. I said Jabari Smith go number one. A lot of people thought Jabari Smith go one. There are reports that Jabari Smith was going one. And then about 10 minutes before the draft starts, it's announced that they're going to pick Paolo Banchero. So interesting stuff right there. Orlando Magic take Paolo Banchero, number one pick. Chet Holmgren ends up Oklahoma State Thunder. Now, my New York Knicks really didn't do much in the NBA draft. Traded both their picks. Had Jalen Duren trade him. Had Yang trade him. Just so much going on in the NBA draft. Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant are both on the trade market right now. And that's wild to see right there. Both Brooklyn Nets. This is a bit of a wild thing right here for the Brooklyn Nets. They started their dynasty in 2019. 0 titles won. 1 series won. 1 playoff series won. And that's about it. You can say it's over now. That's wild right there. The Brooklyn Nets might just be done. Okay, because they're going to have to give up Kevin Durant at one point. It's either going to be Miami Heat. I think the Lakers kind of have the Kevin Durant sweepstakes by now. They already have LeBron James. I think they're going to keep on Anthony Davis for at least one more season if he does terrible. But I think Anthony Davis could rebound. And I'm going to talk about that later in the episode. But Kyrie Irving, I think, might just be a lock to go over to the Los Angeles Lakers. Anybody's going to stay. I think it's going to be Kevin Durant staying with the Brooklyn Nets. But we'll see. So much going on in the NBA right now. We had action-packed NBA offseason. It's more to the NFL where we have a bunch of news. Now, this is the different point of the NFL offseason. You know, you got that point in March, you got that point in April, you got the draft, you got free agency, then it kind of cools down a little bit, late April, mid-May, but then it turns up in June, July. We got all the trades going on with some of the bad players. Baker Mayfield going over to the Carolina Panthers. Interesting deal right there. Didn't have to give up much. That's going to be an interesting combo. Baker Mayfield and Christian McCaffrey. Can he help him with his fantasy football team? Can he help you with your fantasy football team? Christian McCaffrey. We're going to talk about fantasy football a lot in the upcoming weeks, but not this episode. Baker Mayfield, Carolina Panther now, can he contend for the starting job? I think he is going to be a starter over Sam Darnold, over Cam Newton, over anybody else they bring in, Matt Corral. It's going to be interesting stuff right there. Jimmy Garoppolo in a tough situation right now. It's going to be such an interesting season for Jimmy Garoppolo. He might go to the Browns. He might go to the Giants. I think the Browns might be out of it by now because I think they brought in Josh Rosen and Adrian McCarron for workouts the other day. See who could be back up Jacoby Brissett if Deshaun Watson is evidently suspended, which I think he will be suspended. Josh Dobbs, is he really that bad of a backup to Jacoby Brissett if you have Jacoby Brissett as the starter? Jacoby Brissett is probably one of the best backup quarterbacks in the NFL, if not the best backup quarterback in the NFL. Could be a starting quarterback in the next few years if he dominates his time with the Cleveland Browns. Obviously, they're not going to pull a plug into Deshaun Watson and play Jacoby Brissett as the starter, but say he does well, it's only a one-year deal. He can get a starting job for the 2023 season. Never know, but Jimmy G, tough situation right now with the San Francisco 49ers. We're going to talk about that later in the episode, but so much going on in college football right now. Arch Manning drops a bomb about a month ago, the same day as the NBA draft, says he's going to Texas. Not playing for Lane Kiffin, not playing for Kirby Smart of Georgia. He's going over to Texas, everybody. That's a wild thing right there, in my opinion. Kirby Smart does not get Arch Manning. Lane Kiffin does not get Arch Manning. Steve Sarkisian lands Arch Manning. But this is a stacked quarterback room right now. You got Malik Murphy, who is the biggest cannon in this 2022 quarterback class. You have Quinn Ewers, who's amazing. You got Hudson Card, who played pretty well last season. And now you mix in Arch Manning there for next season. Whew. Arch Manning probably won't start as a freshman. It'll probably be Quinn Ewers. But how does Malik Murphy fit in there? How does Hudson Card fit in that situation? Just a little bit of a tough thing right there. But I'm going to close out this college football headline right here with USC, UCLA joining the Big Ten, everybody. That's going to be wild to see right there. I'm excited for that USC-Michigan rivalry, USC-Ohio State rivalry, that USC-Minnesota November game where it's freezing cold, or USC-Minnesota game in November in LA where it's blazing hot, and then Minnesota is super happy. Just going to be awesome to see everybody. It's going to be interesting. USC and UCLA. College football turned professional pretty much. That's all I have to say right there. But let's move to the MLB. We had an amazing AllStar Weekend, everybody. AllStar Weekend was amazing. Started out with the Futures game. Jason Dominguez tore things up. Then it goes over to the MLB Draft. MLB Draft was the best it's ever been. You had full-on NFL-type draft coverage right there. It was so good. Jackson Holliday, Matt Holliday went number 1. Drew Jones went number 2. Kumar Rocker going number 3. Just such an amazing MLB Draft, everybody. And then, obviously, Home Run Derby the next night. Julio Rodriguez taking down the two-time champ, back-to-back champ, Pete Alonso. Can't three-peat it, Pete Alonso. Sassy right there as a Mets fan. But Julio Rodriguez, future of MLB, Julio Rodriguez, Juan Soto going at it right here. Juan Soto takes the win. Juan Soto, so much going on with him right now. We're going to talk about later in the episode some trade possibilities, a bunch more stuff. And then you had an amazing All-Star game where you have Shane McClellan starting for the American League, where he was a rookie last season. Now he's starting in the All-Star game in his second season in MLB. That's amazing stuff right there. Tyler Glasnow eventually lost it for that. I know you could say, giving up those 2 back-to-back home runs to Carl Stanton and Byron Buxton. AL winning it for the 9th straight season. Amazing All-Star Weekend, everybody. Great job, MLB. We're going to talk more about that later. But that's about it for my headlines this week. Now, my favorite of the week, everybody. My take this week is about the Los Angeles Lakers, everybody. I think the Los Angeles Lakers have put their roster together pretty well, everybody. Anthony Davis looks like he's coming together. I don't think they should trade Anthony Davis or Kevin Durant or whoever. If they can get Kyrie Irving, this is a 45-plus win team. I think right now they're a 45-win team. I think they're going to put themselves together. Anthony Davis is going to stay healthy this season. LeBron James, he's already doing the Drew League. Looks pretty good there. Not much. I mean, Taylor Horton-Tucker could have a good season. Maybe Ken Bazemore can turn things up this season. Just so much going on right now with the Los Angeles Lakers. But I really like the way they've put together their offseason. I mean, they had a good draft. They're doing really well right now. Los Angeles Lakers, I think, sneaky to be a top 3 seed in the Western Conference next year. I don't think they're going to be a top 3 seed, but I think they could probably be number 4 seed. It's going to be interesting stuff right there. But I like the way this Los Angeles Lakers roster is forward out right now. I think the Los Angeles Lakers have a good season next year. That's my take of the week. Now we got top 5, everybody. We haven't done this in a while. We haven't had an episode in a while. So we're going to talk about the MLB right here. My top 5 teams in the MLB. Let's hop into it. At number 1, I have the New York Yankees, everybody. And I really thought, when I had that 3-week hiatus, I really thought New York Yankees are going to slump. They're not going to do well. But no, the New York Yankees kept it up. They're doing amazing. Nestor Cortez, an all-star. Matt Carpenter looking like prime Babe Ruth right now. Wild stuff right there going on. Matt Carpenter banked 356. AL Player of the Week. Last week, Matt Carpenter tearing things up. Number 1, New York Yankees. Number 2, the Houston Astros, everybody. Astros, really just a great organization, even after that sign-stealing scandal, everything like that. They've still been great. They have built up their pitching rotation. They have Justin Verlander. They have Framber Valdez. They have Jose Acordu. They have Christian Javier. This is an underrated pitching rotation, an underrated team. They have Jordan Alvarez, one of the best power hitters in the AL. I think maybe the best pound-for-pound hitter in the AL, you could say. Wild stuff right there going on with Jordan Alvarez, and this Houston Astros team. Number 3, my New York Mets, everybody. You could say, how do you have the New York Mets over the Los Angeles Dodgers? The Los Angeles Dodgers have a better record. Well, the Mets dealt with the dog days of late June and early July, but they're tearing things up right now. They had some bad games then. They had Max Scherzer out. Max Scherzer's back now, tearing things up. Carlos Carrasco on his skid right now. Taijuan Walker pitching pretty well. Chris Bassett pitching pretty well. Pete Alonso getting things figured out. Most RBIs in MLB right now, 77 at the All-Star break. Yes, 77th All-Star break. You can hand Francisco Lindor all you want. He has 66 RBIs, some of the most in MLB. Has 16 home runs. He had 17 home runs all of last season. Yeah, Francisco Lindor tearing things up right now. Pete Alonso tearing things up right now. I love my current New York Mets squad. Number 3, New York Mets. Number 4, Los Angeles Dodgers, everybody. Yep, Los Angeles Dodgers. Number 4. Mookie Betts still doing great. Had a great All-Star game. Had that RBI. I mean, Freddie Freeman, all that stuff going on when he was in Atlanta, saying, "Oh, I wish I was still in Atlanta Brave." Yeah, but he's still playing well for the Los Angeles Dodgers. Clayton Kershaw, in whatever year it is for him, just still pitching great, getting up there in age, but playing the All-Star game. Tony Gonsolin had a rough All-Star game, but he's still an amazing pitcher. I mean, Tyler Anderson's still an amazing pitcher. Walker Buehler's still hurt, but these guys are stepping up. Nobody really expected Tony Gonsolin. Nobody really expected Tyler Anderson to be two sneaky All-Star pitchers, but they are. Number 4, Los Angeles Dodgers. Number 5, unfortunately, the Atlanta Braves. And I say unfortunately because that's hurting my New York Mets right there. The Atlanta Braves have been one of the best teams in the past 45 games. The Atlanta Braves have been the best team in MLB. I think they're 31, and I think they had 31 out of their last 40 games they've won. So the Atlanta Braves have just been amazing here. But tearing things up, Dansby Swanson have one of his best seasons, living up to that number 1 pick potential. Ronald Acuna Jr. coming back from injury, tearing things up. Matt Olson looking great. Manny Pena at catcher looking pretty good. This is just a good squad. Max Fried's pitching pretty well. I mean, they've good bullpen. AJ Minter, Tyler Matzek. Say they get Mike Soroka back some point in the season. It's just a solid team, everybody. I don't think they win the NL East over my New York Mets. But I think they're a top 5 team. That's about my top 5 teams in the MLB. Now, did you know, everybody, this week's Did You Know is going. Did you know John Stockton on the 1992 Dream Team Olympics led the team in blocks? Not Magic Johnson, not Michael Jordan, not Larry Bird, not any other center they had on that team. John Stockton, the point guard, had the most blocks on that 1992 Dream Team. Didn't know that? Leave that in the comment section. That's what I didn't know this week. I don't think many people realize this, everybody, but college football season is right around the corner. We got week 0 kicking off in about 2 or 3 weeks. It's just going to be amazing, everybody. College football season, I am so amped up for it. We just had SEC Media Day. Things are going great right now in the college football land of world. But let's talk about something really quick in college football. UCLA and USC both joined the Big Ten. Leave your thought on that in the comment section, but I'm interested in it, everybody. Now, some people are upset saying, why did UCLA and USC leave the West Coast to go over to the Big Ten, play in the Midwest? Well, they're moving with the times, everybody. College football eventually is just going to end up being the SEC and the Big Ten. Maybe the ACC mix in there, but no. Clemson, Notre Dame. Well, Notre Dame will probably switch over to the SEC at one point. Clemson might switch over to the SEC. You never know. USC, are they even going to play Notre Dame anymore? That's what maybe will prove Notre Dame to want to join the conference, so they can't keep up their rivalries anymore. They can't keep on playing Stanford every year. They can't keep on playing USC every year. Interesting stuff right there. But moving with the times, everybody, college football is turning to professional sport. As Lane Kiffin said it, we got NIL now. You have everything going on. Dante Moore committed to Oregon. Dan Lanning his first big recruit. Dante Moore could end up being number 1 player in the class, but I mean, there's rumors that he had a major NIL deal to go to Oregon over Michigan, which is just interesting stuff right there. But Oregon landing their first big recruit, Dan Lanning, make his first big splash as the Oregon head coach, landing Dante Moore, who could be the number 1 player at the end of this class. I mean, it's tough to see as a Michigan fan, hometown guy, Dante Moore, grew up a Michigan fan, tough to see him not go to Michigan. Hey, maybe we could flip him in the end, but never know. That's about news for the Pac-12 right there. But so much going on less in the rest of college football. The direction of Texas football, I already talked about in the headlines, but it's going straight up. You got Arch Manning, you got Malik Murphy, you got all these great running backs, you got Xavier Worthy. This is a 10-win plus team next season. I wouldn't be surprised if Texas went 11-1 next season with 1 loss to Alabama. I would not be surprised if they swept every single game on their Big 12 schedule. I would not be surprised if they won the Big 12 and they made the college football playoff. I would not be surprised. Yeah. If they beat Alabama, if they did anything else. This is a really, really good team. Quinn Ewers is an outstanding quarterback. Quinn Ewers might just win the Heisman. If I'm picking Heisman right now, then Quinn Ewers might just be my pick. Not Bryce Young, not anybody else, not Will Anderson. Quinn Ewers. Quinn Ewers is that guy who's like tough to see. I mean, he went to Ohio State last year, but I like Quinn Ewers now. After he left Ohio State, Quinn Ewers, good player. This could be the face of college football next year. Could be on the cover of NCAA 23 next season, whatever it might be. He's going to be so good at this season, Quinn Ewers. I love the way Steve Sarkisian has turned this Texas program around. They were good under Tom Herman, but they're better under Steve Sarkisian. Don't let anybody convince you otherwise. That's my choice right there on Texas football. Kirby Smart, Georgia head coach, reigning national champion, gets his big contract payday today. 10 years, $112 million. Kirby Smart, fully deserving of it. Moving with the times, NIL, doing great right there. Doing great in the recruiting landscape. Has such a great quarterback stat class. He has Gunnar Stockton. He has Brock Vandagriff. He has Carson Beck. He has Stetson Bennett still. It's a great quarterback room for the future. Great quarterback room right now. Georgia, moving with the times, doing great right now. Georgia, tearing up NIL, tearing up anything else. And Kirby Smart, one of the best coaches in college football, worked his way up from the Alabama defensive coordinator, worked his way up through the Nick Saban ranks. So, Kirby Smart, head coach of Georgia, getting his big contract extension today. Now, last thing I want to talk about here in the headlines is Oklahoma, everybody. Oklahoma, under Brett Venables, will be amazing this season. Now, I don't think they beat Texas, and I don't think they beat Oklahoma State, but I think they win every other game in their Big 12 schedule. It's a good team under Brett Venables. I think next season they can contend for a national title under Brett Venables. Brett Venables is that type of guy. They're going to be like a Clemson in the coming years. But they're going to be more disciplined than Clemson. Brett Venables is going to run the program like the Clemson way, but better in my opinion. Brett Venables is going to build up Oklahoma better than it was before, better than it was under Lincoln Riley. It's going to have offense still, but it's also going to have superb defense. That's my take right there on Oklahoma football. That's my take on College Football Showcase this week. College Football Showcase returning to the college football season. Leave your thoughts in the comment section. So much is going on in the MLB right now. You have Juan Soto requesting a trade. You have the Los Angeles Angels with Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani, 2 MVPs, struggling right now. Terrible team, the Los Angeles Angels. You have the Baltimore Orioles with more wins than the Los Angeles Angels. Baltimore Orioles, who are nearing the end of their rebuild, doing so great. You have the Seattle Mariners on a 14-game winning streak. So much going on in the MLB right now. But I'm more excited for the offseason, this MLB offseason. Let me explain to you why. You have Juan Soto. If he's still a Washington National, by then, will probably get traded. You have Jacob deGrom, who can opt out of his contract, get one of the biggest contracts of all time, not by year, but by salary. He can get a 2-year, $120 million contract by whoever wants it. That's $60 million a year. Jacob deGrom is that type of player. But it all depends how he comes back this year. Now, this is another wild thing to say right here that could happen this offseason. Shohei Ohtani could get traded this offseason. If they don't get things figured out, the Los Angeles Angels, they say, we don't know what to do. We want to keep on a Mike Trout. We want to keep on a Shohei Ohtani, but we have to get rid of one of them. I think it would be Shohei Ohtani. Shohei Ohtani is a free agent after next season. After next season, Shohei Ohtani is a free agent. He can do whatever he wants. I think he might just leave them in free agency next season. Shohei Ohtani, not loving the Los Angeles vibe right now, it doesn't seem like. He could leave them in free agency next season. So they could see that and say, oh, we need to trade him. We need to trade him this offseason. I am so amped up for this MLB offseason, everybody. But before that, I need to talk about Juan Soto, everybody. This is my Juan Soto spotlight. Juan Soto is such an amazing MLB player. He's a generational talent. He's one of the greatest talents of all time. I said before the season, he's a Mike Trout, but he might be better. Yeah, Juan Soto could draw a walk any at-bat he wanted. He could get a single any at-bat he wanted, but this season, he's forced to take power. He's forced to go for home runs every single hit because they are such a bad team, the Washington Nationals. Put them on a team like the New York Yankees, New York Mets, San Diego Padres, Los Angeles Dodgers, and this guy's the greatest player in MLB right now. That's what I think. I think Juan Soto is one of the best players in MLB. I think he might just be the best player in MLB over Mike Trout, over Mookie Betts, over Fernando Tatis Jr., over whoever you want to put right there. I think Juan Soto might just be the best player. But so much going on with Juan Soto right now, everybody. I want to discuss some trade options for Juan Soto that could happen at the MLB trade deadline. Starting out with the New York Yankees, everybody. Now, I don't think the New York Yankees is such a perfect option for Juan Soto, everybody. I think I would rather have Juan Soto over Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge is the 30-year-old player who they're going to have to probably pay 10 years, $300 million to at the end of the offseason. They want to keep him. Why do that? Well, you can trade for Juan Soto. Now, you can't trade Aaron Judge for Juan Soto. You obviously can't do the trade deadline because that'd be ludicrous. New York Yankees fans would be going crazy saying, you trade our best player, the MVP, for a player this offseason? I mean, this trade deadline, that'd be wild right there. Treat him in season, Aaron Judge, for Juan Soto. That's not happening, everybody. That's not happening. But I'd rather have Juan Soto in the long run. Would you want to trade him for Jason Dominguez? Would you try to team him up with Jason Dominguez? I don't think it works, everybody. New York Yankees do not work for Juan Soto. You would have to give up Jason Dominguez, who could be the next Juan Soto, could be the next Mike Trout, could be better. I don't think it works out, everybody. I mean, if I was the Washington Nationals, I'd be going after the New York Yankees trying to get Jason Dominguez. You saw him in that Futures game hitting that home run blast. I would want Jason Dominguez on my team for next season if I was the Washington Nationals, but they're not going to do it. They're not going to get Aaron Judge. They're not going to get anything like that. That would be a mega trade right there. If I was the New York Yankees, next offseason, when Juan Soto's a free agent, I would go after him instead of paying all my money to Aaron Judge this offseason. That's my take right there in the New York Yankees. I don't think they should get Juan Soto. I don't think that New York Yankees should pay Aaron Judge. I think they should get Juan Soto, but I don't think they will. That's my take in the New York Yankees right there, but I don't think they can. Now, a dark horse right here for the Juan Soto sweepstakes, the Baltimore Orioles, everybody. Baltimore Orioles are a good team this season. They have Adley Rutschman. They have some good prospects. They could trade Grayson Rodriguez. They could trade John Means. They could get Juan Soto, but I think they're going to stick to their guns. They're going to say, hey, let's stick with our rebuild a little bit here. We're going to keep on Jackson Holiday. We're going to keep on to all these guys. We're going to keep on to our number one pick. We're going to say we're not going to get Juan Soto. I think that would be a right move right there. But imagine Adley Rutschman, Jackson Holiday, a big three with Juan Soto in the future years. Now, it wouldn't work this season or next season. Maybe not in the season after that because they all wouldn't be in the MLB. Maybe we'll see everybody. That's my take right there on the Baltimore Orioles as a dark horse for Juan Soto, but I don't think it happens. Now, another team, I think maybe the best contender for Juan Soto will be the Toronto Blue Jays, everybody. Now, do they really want to trade Juan Soto to the New York Mets? We're going to discuss that later. They're a division rival. Do they really want to keep him in NL? I don't think so. Maybe they would want to trade him to the Toronto Blue Jays, American League team, They're probably not going to play unless they make the World Series. Just be an interesting option right here. Juan Soto going over to the Toronto Blue Jays. They could give up Alejandro Kirk. They give up some of their prospects. They have a really good farm system in Toronto Blue Jays. They just got rid of Charlie Montoyo, their manager, which is an interesting move right there. But say they put together a package of amazing catcher and Alejandro Kirk. I think they would keep on giving Moreno, like I said. Maybe they want to give him Moreno over Alejandro Kirk, even though Alejandro Kirk was an all-star this year. But Alejandro Kirk, in the long run, I think is the worst player to give him Moreno, in my opinion. They give up Alejandro Kirk. They could give up Nate Pearson. They could give up a couple other prospects. And I think it would work for Juan Soto to play. But the Blue Jays really want to make that deal for Juan Soto. Would they really want to keep on George Springer, all those guys? I think they would. So Blue Jays may not be the best option for Juan Soto. That leaves me to two more teams I'm going to talk about right here. The San Diego Padres and New York Mets are play. San Diego Padres could put together an interesting deal for Juan Soto. They could give up. It would be the most MLB-ready deal, in my opinion. If they want to contend, this would be the deal. It would be Trent Grisham, Mackenzie Gore, and maybe a few prospects in there. It would be a good deal. They could give up Robert Hassel in there, their first-round pick from last season. It could be a good deal. But do they really want to keep him in that NL? Do they really want to give him to a contender? That's another question right there. But this leads me to my last one right here. Juan Soto to the New York Mets. Everybody, New York Mets can put together the best package, in my opinion. They can give up Francisco Alvarez. They can give up Ronnie Marusta. They can give up Matthew L. They can give up David Pearson. They can give up Tyler McGill. They can maybe give up Jeff McNeil, even though I wouldn't do that. They could give up so much. They give Mark Vientos. They can give up Brett Beatty, like I said. It would be such an amazing deal to see Juan Soto go over to the New York Mets. But they really want to play Juan Soto 15 times a year? Yeah, I don't think so. So much going on with Juan Soto right now. So much going on with the Washington Nationals. Washington Nationals, when they won that World Series in 2019, it really seems like they gave up on that. That was their last leg. They had Max Scherzer. They had Trey Turner, who they traded away last season. They're two best franchise players. The two franchise players that they had, the two best players in franchise history. I'm sorry, Bryce Harper. It's Max Scherzer and Trey Turner, everybody. Max Scherzer and Trey Turner stayed with the Washington Nationals. They won them World Series. Yeah, I think those two are the greatest players in Washington Nationals franchise history. Washington Nationals only been around for about 15 years now. Not Bryce Harper. Bryce Harper can never win a playoff series for them. Yeah, he brought them fame. He brought them this. He brought them that. I think Max Scherzer and Trey Turner, those are the two guys. Steven Strasburg, you see now, he reached out to the Washington Nationals after that season, really just not doing well. I mean, he had that neck injury. Now he can't play. He might have to retire, which is wild right there. Anthony Rendon went over to the Los Angeles, has been doing terrible. He's on his last leg, it seems like, in the MLB. He's out for the rest of the season. So much going on with the Washington Nationals. You had Adam Eden that season. That seemed like his last season in the MLB. You had Ryan Zimmerman, who's retired now. It was a really old team. They deserved to win a World Series. It was Juan Soto's rookie season. But get Juan Soto out of Washington, everybody. Get him out of D.C. He deserves better. He deserves a team like the New York Mets. He deserves a team like the Toronto Blue Jays, San Diego Padres, whatever it might be. Juan Soto needs to get out of the Washington Nationals. That's my opinion right there. Leave your thoughts in the comment section. Now, I want to talk about something right here. Donovan Mitchell in the Garden area play. Now, by the time this episode's released, Donovan Mitchell might be a New York Knick. He might be a Boston Celtic. I don't know. But Donovan Mitchell, in my opinion, will be a New York Knick. And I'm so excited for it to happen. You're going to have Jalen Brunson at point guard. You're going to have Donovan Mitchell at shooting guard. You're probably going to have RJ Barrett small forward because I don't think he's going to be included in that deal. You're going to have Julius Randle power forward, and you're going to have Mitchell Robinson center. That bench is going to be weak. You're probably going to have to give up Bowie Toppin. You're probably going to give up Emmanuel quickly. You're probably going to have to give up like 4 first-round picks in that deal. But wow, that's a contending starting five. Let me say it again. Jalen Brunson at point guard. Donovan Mitchell at shooting guard. RJ Barrett at small forward. Julius Randle at power forward. And Mitchell Robinson at center. Now, I wasn't the biggest fan of Jalen Brunson signing. He's the only player in NBA history to get a $100 million deal and not be an all-star. But I think he'll be an all-star this upcoming season. You got Julius Randle. He was an all-star 2 seasons ago. I think he could do it again. RJ Barrett. He could be an all-star this season. You got Donovan Mitchell, who could be an MVP candidate this season. So much going on right now with Donovan Mitchell in New York Knicks. I would be so excited to see it. Donovan Mitchell in the Garden. Bring back that vibe to the Garden. Bring back the 2020 type of vibe where it was just so electric. You had the hard-working players, but you didn't really have that one big star. You had Julius Randle, yes, but he choked in the playoffs. Donovan Mitchell doesn't choke in the playoffs. Donovan Mitchell, an amazing player, out of Rudy Gobert's shadow now, you could say. He was with the Utah Jazz. Just wasn't a great fit for him in Utah. This would be a perfect move. Donovan Mitchell entering his prime. So much going on right now with Donovan Mitchell. I am excited to see him. Hopefully in the New York Knicks uniform next season. We'll just have to wait and see, but I'm excited. Donovan Mitchell, probably going to be a New York Knicks. Leave your thoughts in the comment section. Now, at the buzzer, everybody, this week's At the Buzzer is about Jimmy Garoppolo, everybody. Jimmy Garoppolo, a lot of people are saying now, he's the most underrated player in the NFL. No, he's the most overhated player in the NFL. He got pretty much screwed with this whole entire scenario. Now, a lot of people thought after his first season in San Francisco where he just tore things up, kind of revitalized that team, that he could win 5 Super Bowls. He already had 2 Super Bowl rings under his belt. People thought he could win 3 more. I really thought that also when he made that 2019 Super Bowl against Kansas City Chiefs, but they lost that Super Bowl. But Jimmy Garoppolo's an amazing player to play. He's made the conference championship twice as a starting quarterback. Played better than Trey Lance did in his starts last season. You're just going to say, hey, let's hand over the reins right now to Trey Lance. Now, you're probably going to have to do that, but it's just tough. I think Jimmy Garoppolo should have entered the season at the starting quarterback. He doesn't really have a team to go to. It's a really tough market in the NFL right now for quarterbacks. The Atlanta Falcons, maybe. New York Giants, hopefully not. I like Daniel Jones. Cleveland Browns would be a tough scenario right there. Competing for the third string job, that's not Jimmy Garoppolo-esque. Jimmy Garoppolo's a solid quarterback everybody. You could say, oh, he was carried to the conference championship in 2019. Maybe he was. Maybe Raheem Mostert carried him to that conference championship game, carried him to that Super Bowl, whatever it might have been. He's still a good player, Jimmy Garoppolo. He runs that offense. He got them that win against the Dallas Cowboys. He got them that win against Aaron Rodgers, the Green Bay Packers. He beat Aaron Rodgers in the playoffs twice. He's still not a starting quarterback in the NFL. That's wild stuff right there. In the past 3 years, he's beaten Aaron Rodgers twice in the playoffs and gets absolutely no respect. Jimmy Garoppolo, most underrated player in the NFL by far. That's my take on Jimmy Garoppolo. Leave your thoughts in the comment section. Now, the best for last question, this week's question is, was this the best All-Star Weekend of all time? You started out that MLB draft, then you went over to the Futures game, then you went into Home Run Derby, then you went to the All-Star game. All-Star game wasn't that exciting, but you had the back-to-back home runs. Home Run Derby was electric in LA. You had the draft there. The draft should be All-Star Weekend every single year. Draft format was amazing. Maybe I'm just raving over the draft right now. In the Futures game was amazing. Seeing Jason Dominguez hit that home run. But so much went on that weekend. One of the best weekends MLB's had in the past decade, you could say. What a weekend that was. Was that the best MLB All-Star Weekend? Leave your thoughts in the comment section. That's about episode number 83. Great to be back after our summer hiatus. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review. Follow Schoolyard Sports on Instagram @SchoolyardSports. Follow Schoolyard Sports on Twitter @SchoolyardSport. Follow Schoolyard Sports on TikTok @SchoolyardSports. Stay tuned for the best sports content in the world. We'll be back here next week, episode number 84.